Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. Today we'll be reviewing day three, the moving day of the Australia versus India Sydney Test match, the third Test match. I have with me my brother, Mr. Yusuf Ismail. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. As an Indian fan, I'm disappointed, but I'm doing well apart from that. Let's get
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. Australia in the driver's seat. They've taken full control of the Test match. I think it was after lunch. They just picked up 6 wickets, and it was game over right there and then. Some relentless bowling in the first session. India lost a couple of wickets, but they were still hanging in there with Rishabh Pant and Pujara.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you can pull up the scorecard, we can start dissecting this day three.
So I just have a question for you before we get into the details, right? Like the last two test matches, India has been riding on this high. The media is praising them. Oh my God, they were down in the dumps and now they've come back so strong. And then I saw today a tweet by Harsha Bogle, and it's like something along the lines of, oh, is India's batting too brittle, or are we coming back to that debate, right? So, like, before we get into the details, like with Indian cricket, it feels like fans and supporters, or just people observing the game in India, they live in the moment, but they don't take a wider approach. It's like you can argue India has been very poor abroad for the last 25 years, or they've had problems with collapses for the last 7 years, right? So they're just like, what's your take on the entire narrative? I just found it interesting because, like, oh my God, India, we were like worse than worse, but then we fought back. Whereas India is like a champion test side, all that sort of stuff. And now again with this collapse, it's like old habits are coming out with different players. So what's your take on this entire just like like in the moment versus maybe issues that are being tapered over, the cracks are being painted over without addressing like systematic deep issues.
No, of course you're gonna get on a high. Like you get 36 all out, and then suddenly, without four of your best players, even Rohit Sharma wasn't there, and you suddenly won convincingly against Australia. You are going to be on a high. But yes, of course there are weaknesses. But for this particular series, there's a lot of injuries as well. But yes, in terms of batting, there has been a lack of intent, which is more visible now. But that's how it is. Like in terms of touring, I think before India had an issue with bowling when Ganguly was captain, their batting was amazing. So their batsmen used to keep them in the game, and the bowlers like somewhat would let them down. Now it's completely opposite. I think the batsmen are letting them down, and the bowlers are keeping India in the game. So I think because I think on the day two, getting Australia all out for 338. I think that was a great job by the bowlers. But then the
Comeback. It
batsmen,
was a
yeah,
comeback,
yeah,
yeah.
but the batsmen let them down because you should have at least got 300 in this innings. It was a really good pitch to bat on, and people saying lack of intent or whatever, but it was simple. Like I told you last time, yesterday, you need to rotate the strike, and then I think the likes of Pujara, he just went into a shell and he just didn't rotate the strike. I think he batted better early on, but then again he started going into a shell. So even Vihari as well. So I'm not saying you need a boundary every ball, but you need to rotate the strike. They weren't aggressive enough. If you want an example of what I'm talking about, look at Labuschagne. 47 of
Yeah.
69 balls. Even in the last innings, he was like 50 of 100 balls. Like he was defensive in the beginning. It's not like he was attacking from ball one. Smith was attacking, but not Labuschagne. But he slowly built into his innings. And then once he got set, he started rotating the strike. The problem is here, Pujara, Rahane, Rishabh Pant, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, all of these guys were set.
Yeah.
They did all of them did the hard work.
Yeah.
Coming in, playing out deliveries, getting your eye in. Even Vihari to an extent played 30 balls. That's like settling in, right? So
He didn't play a good shot though.
he got run out, but I think it was who was it? Rishabh Pant. He also was set and he also got out. So over
Sorry,
here,
Rishabh Pant didn't play a good shot.
yeah.
He
So
played. He was loose. Yeah.
over here it's not just a question of intent but it's also losing focus, building on your innings, and for Pujara, or my main thing is if you're playing 176 balls, you can't just be scoring 50. Like you can't be scoring at a strike rate of 20. You can have a strike rate of 20 in your first 80 90 balls, but then your next 80 90 balls you need to rotate the strike, at least lift it to 30 40, your strike rate. So that's where I have a problem. Once you're set and you're throwing your wicket, I think that is very poor. Like you shouldn't have been doing that, and it's the batting which has let them down in this test match. And
So
yeah,
let's
this
get into that. Like, so what happened in the morning?
yeah, Rahane was set. He hit line for a six, looking good with Pujara on the other end. And to be honest, even Pujara was working the singles and stuff. They weren't getting too bogged down. But then
Yeah.
he got, it was uncomfortable with a few short deliveries. I think Australia pulled really well, body line, and that made Rahane a bit uncomfortable. And then he chopped one on to his stumps. Vihari came, got under pressure, tried to rotate the strike, got run out.
That was a
That
brilliant piece of fielding by Hazelwood. You
yeah.
can't that was unlucky. It was one
But that
one
wasn't a.
motion, like
But I mean, but that wasn't a run. Like
yeah.
even if he didn't, I mean, collect it or whatever, like it wasn't. He was gonna fall short. But yeah, it was excellent fielding.
It was like the Matthew Wade argument, right? It's a test match. You don't have to take those singles.
Yeah, no, I like that's the thing, right? Like I want them to rotate the strike, but you need to be sensible about it.
Yeah.
So I think then Rishabh Pant Pujara again looking really good. Uh,
And they got
Pant,
starts.
that,
Punt got a start. Jadeja was not out, but
and
that's a
then what
different
happens?
story.
Pant hits on the gets hit on the elbow. Like 5-10 minutes treatment. It looked like he was getting it was a bad injury, he was swelling up, and then after a couple of overs he got out. And then after that, the line of wickets just going. And then Cummins got Pujara with that outside off. There's two things with Rishabh Pant. I saw Nick Knight was talking about it on air that his
Yeah.
back leg moves a bit towards the leg side, so that opens up the offside for him. So it makes him very, like it makes him a much stronger offside player. Like anything outside off, you saw what Stark bowled. He slashed at it, he drove it. He was really good. But the
Yeah.
problem is when the ball comes into his body, he has an issue.
Okay.
Because that leg side becomes weak because your back leg is towards the leg stump instead of the off stump. You have to get your bat round your leg and try to hit it. By that time, you get hit or
Okay.
whatever. So you're in a much more uncomfortable position. So
Yeah, because you're already moving towards the leg side, and then
yeah.
yeah, I
And that's
understand.
why I think he got hit, like, so it's not just like, yes, it's very unlucky that our players are getting injured game
Yeah,
after
it's like
game.
really bad.
Yeah,
Do
but
we have
also,
batsmen, by the way? I know we have bowlers, but do we have any
hey,
batsmen?
look, right now, I think Jadeja is out for the test match. I think he's out for 6 weeks. And
What?
yeah, he got hit by Mitchell
I know
Stark.
he got it in the arm, but I
Yeah.
didn't. I honestly didn't
He's
read
not
that.
going to
I
be
didn't
bowling.
follow.
Yeah, he's not going to be bowling day 4. He might come out to bat,
Oh,
but that's just like if they're in desperate situation. Rishabh Pant might come day 5, but he's not going to be keeping today either. I think in on day 4. But
so basically, you're saying we've lost our best bowler in the first innings, and we've lost a batsman who's giving us 36,
yeah,
40,
so that
40, 50
yeah,
runs. Wow.
that's why I'm not being extremely harsh on the
Yeah,
team
yeah,
because they're getting a lot of injuries. But
yeah,
I'm just criticizing what is in front of me in terms of the way they batted. I felt Pujara should have scored 80, 90. Our score could have been 300.
yeah,
Because I'm not trying to be like I know understand he's trying to dry up one end, but just look at Rahane's innings in the other Test match, right? Everyone
yeah,
was relying on him. Like if he got out, he got out. Like Pujara got out of that game, he got out. We can't do anything about that.
yeah,
Rahane stood there and he made 100, right? Like
yeah.
and the rate that he made 100, like he started off very slowly. He was on in his 20s also. Then he converted to 40, 50 the strike rate. That's what I'm talking about. If you're playing 170 balls, you should be scoring at least 80, 90 runs. You can't be just scoring 50 runs and then getting out. That's my point. It's once you're set in, you need to build from that. Like Labuschagne does, like Smith does. Now Labuschagne has played 40. He's gonna hit 90, 90, 100 again. Smith as well. Once they're set,
Labuschagne, yeah, he's
they
set. Like
really throw
unless
their
there's
wicket.
if it's a unless it's like an outstanding piece of bowling, he's on for
Yeah,
another 100.
even if they get out now, it's not a big deal. They're in a strong position. But look at the first innings; they both made one guy made 90, one guy made 100. So they're
Yeah,
converting their score. Once you get a start, you don't have an excuse. That's what I'm saying. You're doing the hard part. So it's not a problem of technique. It's not a problem of anything. It's a mind game. Like I mean, like they're just not
look
working
at
the single.
if you diverge a bit, look at Kane Williamson. He's the perfect example of acceleration, right? In his recent innings, like I know you discussed it on the other episodes, but it's like he is the same. He probably has 50 of 100, but he ends up with 200 of 370, right? So he has that moments of acceleration, and he's in. That's why he's such a class batsman, is because he plans his innings. He's like, I'm going to be batting for 300 balls. How do I play? He
Yeah,
doesn't think that, like I'm only here for 100 or something. I'm getting bogged down. He's like, no, I'm going to give myself a 50 strike rate for like 100, 150 balls, and then
yeah.
he picks it up.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You have to pick it up. Once you're set, you have to make the most of it. If it's like a green pitch and everything like that, you're trying to survive. It's day 5, a turning track in India. You're trying to survive that. Then that approach is fine. But over here, it's a very good wicket. Only the odd ball was uneven. You know that the fourth innings is going to get worse. It's going to be very difficult to bat on. So you need to get runs. It's simple as that. I would much rather them get all out for 300 going for it than I'm not even saying going for it. It was just a matter of singles. If they took a single every 2-3 overs, then they would have think they played out too many maidens. Look at the maidens. If you go down, how many maidens
10
are there?
maidens, Hayden Woods. 10 Cummins,
20,
10 maidens.
27,
Lion 8. Whew.
29. That's around how much? 37 maidens.
27, 29, yeah, 37 maidens.
Yeah,
That's
so like
ridiculous.
I mean that's the issue. I understand it's a game of patience and everything, but once you're set, then you should rotate. And the opposite is for the likes of Shubman Gill and Rohit. They were set and they were going well. That's when like you need to be sensible in your shot selection. Still rotate the strike, but you need to once you're set, you can't throw away your wicket. That's what it is. And is everyone did that. That's the problem. So I think that was the
Yeah,
issue for India.
if you see the scorecard, you have starts 26, 50, 50, 22, 36, 28. These are all starts. These are all
So you
potential
did the
50s
hard
and
work.
100s, right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did all the hard work. So for me, it was like 1% needed to make 100. Otherwise, it was always going to be difficult. But unfortunately, no one made 100. But credit to Australia, I think their field placement was exceptional. They didn't have 3-4 slips early on. They knew that the ball's not swinging. They had the old ball, so
Yeah.
they changed the field. They had a silly mid on like next to the non-striker. They had like 2-3 like a leg slip, leg
Leg
gully.
gullies.
They had
Yeah.
on the offside like short catchers. So they were setting the fields according to the pitch, and they were bowling brilliantly. The Cummins is the best bowler in the world. Like the guy just comes in, bowls with good pace, line and length, same corridor uncertainty. He has a short ball. He's injured already. Two players he's injured. Rishabh Pant is injured. Mohammad Shami. Like I'm not
And he's
blaming him,
still
but I'm just saying he has that pace as well. It's not just
he's
accuracy.
aggressive, and
Yeah,
he's aggressive while being very patient. And I
yeah.
think in the previous test match, while the commentary they were discussing on the Australian commentary, I think Fox Sports commentary, it's like he's still bowls at 140, 145, but like before he was going faster than 150, but because of injuries, he's adjusted his action and stuff. And despite adjustment, he's still maintaining like a 140, 145 with swing, with bounce, and he's aggressive, and that's amazing. Hazelwood is more like McGrath. Like I would say, like he's like Jason Gillespie. More, Gillespie had line and length, but he just had something more like to give at times. Like it's sudden in swing, out swing, the bouncer, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree,
Yeah,
definitely.
I think he's a workhorse. His stamina is unbelievable. He just keeps coming in and bowling. He can bowl like long spells. And yeah, Hazelwood as well. I think Hazelwood and Cummins with the new ball, the second new ball, they changed the game. They picked up both Pant and Pujara, and then they just ripped into the tail. So the new ball did the job. But bowling with that old ball, they did a superb job, body line, and then started bowling a bit outside off. They used their field. They bowled into the body. Then they started bowling outside off. Like they knew exactly what they were doing. They dried up the runs, and then with the new ball, that's it. They bowled that line and length outside of stump, and they got the wicket. So I think it was excellent bowling, and also I think that is a factor. Like India's bowling is much more inexperienced, so taking
Now
that
and with
into
injuries, it's even less experienced.
yeah, taking that into consideration, I think. Australia do have an advantage, but then they have to come in and get the work done. They've been unbelievable. I think this Australian bowling lineup, but at the same time, it's not unbeatable. They can be beaten, like you saw in the second Test match. So I think it's just a matter of rotating the strike, building your innings, and playing more sensible cricket than they did. Like you can't go into a shell like that on a day three pitch. Is the best day two and day three are the best time to bat on. So they should have been a bit more aggressive, and even with that aggression, they should have balanced it and played a sensible knock. I think they could have easily got 350, 400 on this pitch, India.
I think with Australian cricket over the years, Australian cricket has had slumps. Like, fine, they were bulletproof from like, 99 to 2007, 2000, even 2010. They've had their ups and downs, but what I feel with Australian cricket is that they always manage to reinvent themselves, and they bring in players that eventually, like, after they might have a slump for a year or two, but then suddenly they're back in the World Cup final, or they win they almost win the World Cup final, the semi-final. It's like they're not gone for too long because like whatever issues they have, they deal with it. They accept immediately that they have a problem and they deal with it.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
It's like
if you compare this team to the 2003-4 team, there are a lot of weaknesses which can be exposed. But their
yeah,
bowling is solid. The thing is, their bowling right now, with no injuries, it's really solid. So it's very difficult to get them away. But you've seen, if you lose a Test match against an Indian team without Kohli, Shami, without Ishant Sharma, Umesh Yadav, getting injured the whole of the second innings,
yeah.
that means there is an issue in that batting lineup. when Smith and Labuschagne don't work, there is an issue. Like especially in that middle order. Again, we saw that when they should have scored 450 plus. If this was the Australia of old, they would have scored 500 in the first innings, and the
Fair
game would have
enough.
been done
That's a good
right
point.
there. They kept India in the game until day 3 because the middle order was not good enough. They just didn't, put India to the sword. So I think there is weaknesses in this Australian team. But the thing is with them, their mindset, their mentality is always to win. They're very strong-headed. They even if they have a weak team, they go for the win. Like it's that attacking mentality which helps them. That's 100% sure. But this team does have weaknesses, and and you saw that in the last Test match. So I think it makes it more exciting for world cricket overall because there are some solid teams there, but then each solid team has their weaknesses. So if they can expose that, it'll always be an exciting series. Like that Ashes series, we thought England will win, but then Australia was running away with it. Then England won the last Test. It was 2-2. So that's how
Yeah.
it is, I feel. But yeah, I think just
And
yeah.
no, I was going to make a point and say I think in this particular series, I think India is missing Kohli in the sense that okay, in the last Test match they batted well. Rahane was the one person who made the stand, and he had good support, right? But in Australia, Smith wasn't firing, right? So it was as if he wasn't in the team. But when Smith and Labuschagne are both firing, sorry, you have two dependable batsmen who are going to give you 100, right? I think India's also an issue with Kohli leaving is that you cannot replace Kohli, but it feels like just when you look at the 11, it's like, okay, fine, Rahane could be the guy. But apart from that, you're still not sure. Shubman Gill maybe in the future. But right now, this team also lacks that second guaranteed 100 batsman. Like
And
that kind of, at least giving you the,
I think Kohli would take pressure off someone like Pujara. I think he would make him rotate the strike. He would hit the boundaries as well. Kohli can counter attack. So I think that scorecard wouldn't have been if Kohli is set for 20, 30 balls, he'll convert it. Like, even if he doesn't score 100, he'll score at a rate where India will be in the game, like he did in the first Test match until he got run out. So I think that's what they're missing. And I think the likes of Rahane, Pujara, Vihari, they're very similar. Rahane is a bit more aggressive than the other two, but they're
but he can't be that counter-attacking. He's not
yeah,
that level of Kohli.
Kohli can go from ball one like Smith does. So I think that's what India missed 100%. But even then, I think if you have so many injuries in your bowling and your bowlers are still doing your job, the batsmen have no excuse. They're only missing Kohli. The rest of the batsmen that's your lineup, right? You have Rohit Sharma back as well. So I think the batting needs to improve and they need to build on their innings. And you've clearly shown that on a pitch like this, like you know how to bat. You're going through the tough period. It's just a mental game, and you need to bat longer. Like that's what it is. And
And
just to
in the second innings, just a quick bite saying that like Australia is in command. The two
that's what
best
I was gonna
batsmen
say.
are sorry about that. They're
No.
in the center. You need to get them out. Like I guess if you're India, you have to get them out in the first hour, at least one of them to have some sort of impact. Otherwise, you're looking at maybe a target of 400 at least or around that much. And Australia, they just need a day. Like India has proved that they can collapse. So like it's a very precarious situation for India. And I just want to give a shout out to Mohammad Siraj. Again, economy is low. He took a wicket. He's performing. He's changed his career around. So
Yeah, there was an incredible delivery, I think, to get Pukovsky out. And that's what it is. With the second string, there is still like coming. Yes, Saini struggled, but Siraj has been unbelievably supported Bumrah a lot. And I think that's what has kept India in the had kept India in the game the first 2 days, because others would have been 500 plus, but Siraj stepped up. So I think he's supporting Bumrah a lot. But yeah, I think India's going to miss Jadeja a lot in this fourth day, because
huge.
he would have got turn, and it would have been very difficult to play him. So I think it's going to be difficult to even pick up like quick wickets. They still can, because there's stuff, the pitch is deteriorating, so they still can. But I think anything 200 plus, 250 plus is going to be a very difficult chase. So it's looking like 350 the target right now. Even more if these two keep batting, then I think Australia will bat till maybe an hour, 2 hours left.
Last 15 overs.
Yeah, probably 1 hour they'll give today. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Is any other last thoughts?
I guess unfortunate for Jadeja. He was like on fire. He's been in great form, and then you're saying he's injured for 6 weeks or so. So that's unfortunate. With the wicketkeeper, I think with Saha is an able replacement, but it's unfortunate because I guess due to COVID, match fitness is harder to maintain, and you're more injury prone. So Well, it's unfortunate for India. I think it's part of the game. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. That's about it from me.
Yeah, I think some really good points there. Hopefully, catch you after day four. It's gonna be an interesting day. I mean, Australia are
I hope the
favorites.
match doesn't finish tomorrow.
I mean, there is possibilities, but probably we'll go till day five. But yeah, I'll catch you then.
Yep. See you then. Take
Okay,
care.
thank you. Okay, bye.